I'm trying to see how to control, this unknown beast in front of me. Okay, right, so, good. I have 3 screens here, so there is one there. Right. Now, the purpose of this slide is not, to remind you that the Commission has poured money into this sort of research for 30 years now, but rather, to draw your attention, to something which is very important, I believe. Over the last, 5 years, overall, we have funded, 60 projects, totaling 150 million euro. Now, that means that, the projects tend to be pretty small. I would say by and large, too small, given them the ambition. And the second element is that when you take a look at the total funding, that represents, 50% of what was used, to be earmarked, for language technology research in the 90s. It represents a mere 2.53% of the total EU investment in the research program, as opposed to 6% in the 90s. So you might think that 150 million euros is a very large amount of money, and it is. But if you think about the number of players, the number of languages, the number of countries, it's a drop in the ocean. So this is, not the bad news, this is just a fact. Right. You are, I believe, by and large, familiar with our projects. I want to draw your attention, to a couple of dimensions. Apart from the geographical element, multi-party and multinational, we try, and we consistently try, to basically build, alliances between academic, public research centers, commercial developers and vendors, and a few brave, daring users. And I think we have been successful in that process, in that we have, overall, over the last, 2 to 3 calls, we have an involvement to the private sector, whether you like it or not, which is twice, the average of the ICT program. In call 7, we had 2 calls in 2011. Call 7, we had, 39% partners, successful partners, from the private sector. And in SME call, for obvious reasons, given the emphasis on emphasis, companies pocketed 50% of the total amount of money. Now, you may say that doesn't help you, but it's important. If you remember the message at the opening ceremony or opening session, basically to translate research into results. One of the channels, of course, is to get commercial players involved in the process. We are focused, we're going to focus in the next call again on generic enabling technologies underpinning a number of demanding applications for a variety of sectors, so that's not going to change. What I regard as the only political constraint we impose on you is each and every project must address multiple languages, which doesn't mean translation, it means input, output. There is more than one language being involved. Okay? And what we're trying to do, contrary to the 90s, where we would content ourselves with 99% English and 1% anything else, we try to have a slightly more balanced package, mix between English and all the other languages represented in a particular project. Right, now the themes. I'm sure you read carefully our work programs when the time comes, but maybe you missed them in a kind of a common denominator over the years. So we've been doing something which is maybe wrong, but very consistent. We have been calling for ideas and activities, what I would call the global content processing area, proposal and publishing, i.e. most of the time automatic translation. Automated, not necessarily machine translation, automated. The second element is what now we refer to, because bloggers and market analysts have come up with a term, we call analytics. Some of you may call it information extraction, mining, social media mining, and all the rest of it. We call it analytics. And in particular, let's face it, it has been text analytics so far. And the third element, we have been invariantly calling for less speech recognition and more speech understanding and dialogue. And I'm not sure we got lots of dialogue, so we're trying again in the upcoming call to shift the emphasis from recognition and synthesis towards deeper understanding and dialogue. And as I said, because that's important, that's the only political element in and between multiple languages. Okay, calls. According to news, the Program Management Committee has adopted, given a favorable opinion to the work program, which sits on top of the upcoming calls. So there will be a number of calls starting from July. Probably there will be a slight delay, but right now, I mean, the target date is the 10th of July. So from the 10th of July, you can expect, I mean, a first series of calls, and two in particular are relevant for this event. So call 10, so memorize, I mean, the terminology if you're interested. Call 10, and a special call, a repeat call addressing SMEs. Now, as in previous years, I mean, language and language-related matters are part of a conglomerate that we refer to as Challenge 4, the title being Technologies for Digital Content and Languages. There are two objectives, I've said, and two calls that will follow the same timeline. They will both open in July, and they will both close in mid-January, which gives a rather generous 6 months period, I mean, to think, find partners, prepare a proposal, adjust them in the financials. Now, call 10 is the typical language technology call, with a few pluses here and there. The budget for that one is set, unless they've changed things, I mean, yesterday night, 27 million euro. Now, why 27 million euro is because overall, across the board, there's been a cut of 50% with respect, I mean, to previous work programs. That's just the money which is left in the box. And I'm afraid, I mean, contrary to all these hallelujahs about big data, open data, smart data, and the rest of it, Challenge 4 is the one which has been cut most. Not because of language, but just because, I mean, somehow the information, data, content, knowledge element didn't prove very successful in the internal fights. So remember, the expression fights is a struggle, is a fight, is a brute force, is lobbies throughout. So 27 million euro, entirely dedicated to language plus, and I will explain the plus. At the same time, we're going to open a call addressing objective 4.3, which is the SME call, for which the budget is set to 20 million euro, and that one is a share between data and language players. So, and there the outcome, I mean, depends very much on the quality and the sex appeal of the proposals. So that means that we won't be able, I mean, to support with tempo funding more than a dozen language-related activities stemming from the two calls. Now, you see for 1, you see for 3, you may wonder what has happened to for 2. That's, I mean, the big data objective as opposed to, say, language technology, right? So, 1 challenge, challenge 4, 3 objectives. 1 is language, the second one is data, the third one brings the two together and has a special focus on SMEs. Right, now, let's go a bit deeper, quickly but deeper. So the objective 4.1 now carries a different title from what you might expect, might have expected. It's called, I mean, Content Analytics and Language Technologies. To reflect, basically, I mean, a new, broader, multidisciplinary approach. Basically, we say, open up the box, okay, and work with others and go beyond, I mean, pure text and pure linguistics. Now, in terms of the choice of the themes and some elements of formulating, I mean, the themes, there is a fair amount of continuity. So you still recognize, I mean, the analytics element, whatever term, I mean, you use, the machine translation element. This time is machine translation, it's not automated translation. And thirdly, I mean, spoken and multimodal interaction. There you start seeing, I mean, some differences, okay, multimodal which pops up. So, in terms of the broad lines, there is a fair amount of continuity. In terms of the content, the substance, the scope, the ambition, and the partnership, there is an element of discontinuity. The way I try and convey that is that this is not the end of P7, this is the start of P8, or Horizon 2020. Okay, so we're setting in motion the process of change, okay, now with this goal. We don't wait, I mean, until 2014. We best, I mean, hope that these things, these actions, will help, I mean, you know, kind of set in the direction for future work. Now, the first part, there are a number of common features. I'm not going to take you through because they've been there, I mean, since 2008, 2009. So you see things like multiple input-output languages. You see things like, I mean, large or very large volumes. You see things like, I mean, personalization, contextualization. They are by no means new. Maybe they should be implemented more than they were last time around, but that's a different element. Now, what is new and different is what I was alluding to before. There is a new, stronger, much stronger emphasis on the need to go beyond pure text and the need to go beyond pure speech. So basically that means what? That means multimedia content, that means multimodal interaction. And if you want to go multimedia and multimodal seriously, then you need, to rethink, your partnerships. The consortia must include, skills and experiences that go beyond what we see in some of the contemporary projects. So basically, the vision, the idea, which won't be able to achieve with a dozen projects, but the idea is basically to try and progress along two lines in parallel, along our ability to process, understand, handle multiple languages, but also multiple media. So the two axes. Okay, and I repeat, is setting a direction. Clearly, it's not with the 27 or 30 or 50 million that we're going to solve the problem, but it's basically launch activities along somewhat different lines. Now, the full title of the three things, now I can disclose it, is, I think, is suggestive about, the idea behind. You will see pretty soon, the text anyway. So one is cross-media content analytics, for what I've said. So look at the interplay between text, speech, audio, and video. The second one is high-quality machine translation, so it's high quality and it's machine translation. The third one is natural, intuitive, spoken and multimodal interaction, which I think says it all. Now, as in previous calls, the people are very smart and say, what if we do translation together with a digital avatar for the purposes of content analytics? Please resist as much as you can the temptation, because each of these things is ambitious enough, broad enough. You're not going to be able to cope with more than one of them at a time, and even with a small subset of each of them. So don't try to cover the known part of the universe and more. Stick, choose one, stick to it, and come up with a good idea. Now, for each of the three lines, there are two instruments. And I repeat, whether it's a project or a support action, which is basically something you fund, pay for 100%, and the results of which are supposed to provide a framework and a foundation for future collaborative work. Both projects and support actions are supposed to contribute to this. Let's move from FP7 and onto FP8, as I call it. So for each line there are three. We expect to be able to select and support financially 1, 2, 3 projects and 1 support action. So the projects are projects, you're familiar with the concept. As for the support actions, think of what if we could, in Age 2020, identify just a few priorities, just a few themes, and organize our activities in 1, 2, 3 clusters of projects, clusters that share a degree of governance, that have agreed on a sort of meta architecture, which have agreed on a number of needs and improvements and enhancements, have identified core technologies and core research tasks, and basically they unfold with a strong connection. So the projects are still individual projects, they've got their own contract and their own consortium, but there is a common architectural view, a common sense of purpose, and what I would call some sort of scientific or whatever managing board keeping them together. More on the next slide. So I say, that's why I said a dozen, 1, 2, 3 projects and up to 1, 0 or 1 support action in each of the 3 areas. The purpose is not to renew MetaNet, the strategic research agenda, nor on the rest of it. The purpose is to look, so that's the next one, so I'll do it now. The purpose is to basically develop, and shaping and providing framework, for collaboration in a given area. It's not the big vision, it's a smaller vision on a number of projects that will see the daylight in Age 2020. Right, so just a few more words about the objects, the little green monsters that we would like to see under these 3 themes. Analytics. So analytics, you choose your term. I mean, somebody was suggesting, I mean, the other day at the summit that there are 150 expressions, I mean, all referring, I mean, to digital avatars, digital assistants, I mean, chat box and all the rest of it. I think analytics is probably the same, it's no different. I'm using the terminology and the definitions as used by US bloggers and market analysts. So if you want to know the meaning of content analytics, it's just, I mean, go on one of the popular, it's become another industry, popular, I mean, a blog, and you see there are conferences in Boston year after year, and so forth, and you see what definitions, I mean, they come up with. So we're talking about, anyway, exploring, analyzing, interpreting, understanding, I mean, rich, structured content. So as I said, this is important, is the interplay between text, speech, audio, and video. And if you can spare me, I mean, still images, that's good. I mean, images may or may not, I mean, come in play. So we're talking about achieving, if everything goes well, I mean, much higher accuracy across language and media bundles. And just, I mean, to give an example, I mean, text is the benchmark, English is the benchmark, so English text is the benchmark. So if you can do Bulgarian, I mean, text, and/or Bulgarian video material with subtitles, with the soundtrack and so forth, and get a bit closer, I mean, to the quality of recognition, analysis, accuracy of an English text, that would be a good sign, I mean, of progress. Now you replace Bulgarian with any other language and you get, I mean, your story. The vision is a vision, it will not be achieved, I mean, within this project. It's basically, I mean, to try and couple more closely accuracy, efficiency, and coverage. Okay? That's a dream, it's a miracle, but I think it should be one of the elements, I mean, you know, driving, I mean, the endeavor. And whatever works. So any combination of existing, emerging, mainstream and non-mainstream, I mean, approaches and technologies, provided that, that's what I mean, the evaluators find the thing, I mean, you know, portable, plausible, and worth, I mean, recommending for funding. Now, what we don't know, need is just another project or two for the sake of it. We have some, there are many everywhere. This is an area which is very popular. You all are doing, I mean, work in that area. We don't need, I mean, one or two projects just for the sake of it. Now, more quickly, translation and interaction. So this is quality, supposedly high quality translation. So if you cannot deliver, I mean, quality MT, then, I mean, there is no reason for you to compete. If you just, I mean, planning to recombine existing methods and techniques, that's probably not, I mean, the right choice. If you want, I mean, to give us, I mean, the 12th Moses-based project, I mean, and we have plenty, I mean, I can give you some, with no substantial novelty, innovation, then probably it's not a good idea to send it. Okay, so nothing about Moses, I mean, we're supporting Moses substantially, but I mean, you know, there are limits, I mean, to what you can do around one and the same platform. And in general, since this is about machine translation as opposed to automatic translation, there are a number of very interesting and very worthwhile, I mean, endeavors. MT and MT, pre and post editing, cut and MT, MT and MTM, and crowdsourcing and the rest of it. Okay, done. We're done. We have, I mean, several projects underway. In the future, probably, but not necessarily, not precisely in this scope. So really, this is going back, I mean, to basics and see, I mean, can we deliver, I mean, high quality MT, not by post-editing translation, but actually generating good quality translations through computer processes. There is an element which is not there, and that is the integration. Somebody alluded yesterday, I mean, to the need to make MT part of an ecosystem, I mean, a value system, whatever. There is that element as well. Now, interaction. So interaction is clear. So number one is basically, I mean, there must be a prominent element of dialogue. There must be a clear interplay between speech and other modalities. We, thanks to me, to recent calls, we have quite a few projects addressing better, improved recognition, transcription, translation, acoustics, you name it. So we don't want, I mean, we cannot afford, I mean, given the amount of money available, I mean, to duplicate ongoing projects. And one thing which is often missing is basically the grounding of a project idea in an existing or emerging ICT platform. That's why in the text was said, please have these things you do grounded, i.e. demonstrated, prototyped. I mean, using, in the work program we have mentioned 3 platforms, there may be a 4th one, the virtual assistant, whatever term you want to use, smartphones and games. So basically, it's not just, I mean, a cognitive thing, which is very important, crucially important, but it's a cognitive thing within a box. So you must, I mean, decide what the box is going to look like and make it work as a proof of concept. Right, these are the projects. Now, the roadmap actions, I mean, they follow the same logic in terms of broad research lines, A, B, and C. But unlike projects, they are basically, I mean, an attempt to take, if you want, I mean, the MetaNet thing down, I mean, to specific domains and specific communities, and develop, I mean, within those specific domains, needs, application scenarios, research tasks, the skills you need, the scale, the effort, the money, the time it will take, and basically, I mean, design what I can best describe as a cluster of projects that will share a number of things. They will share a number of basic processing tools. They will share, I mean, data sets. They will implement the same stack of IT or linguistic standards. They will work against an agreed reference architecture, 2, but not 64 of them. So there is the need, I mean, to actually establish a common target. And the end story, basically, the end result is basically a plan, credible plan with efforts and timescales. Not at the level of the entire field, not at the level of broad domain themes and topics, at the level of more specific, more focused project clusters. Now, you may say, why would anybody do that? It's number one, because you may feel, I mean, you owe that to the community, and secondly, because one of the projects will be yours. And probably the largest of the projects in the cluster will be yours. So there is also an element of very selfish interest in promoting one's agenda. Okay? So if you want, we can discuss it offline. So I repeat, the budget for projects is no less than 21 million euros. The budget available for these road mapping actions is no more than 6 million euros, which means, I mean, each project is worth up to 3 million max funding, which means each road mapping action is probably between 1.5 and 2 max, and there is no predefined allocation of budget. Practical information, as with previous calls, there will be a single entry point, we hope, we believe and hope, okay, it will be overcome, there will be an help desk, an email desk, and inquiries, outline, proposals, and so forth. There will be info days, 1 or 2 have already been penciled, but there will be no doubt more. But right now, I mean, the entire DG is upside down. I mean, the intranet has been taken down. I mean, the extranet must be redesigned and remodeled. So it will take a bit longer than usual. I mean, before all this information is nicely laid. So maybe, I don't know, we can put it on Dropbox or somewhere so that you see what sort of events are scheduled when. There is an event which is official, which has already been announced in Warsaw, the 27th, 26th? 27th of September, but that's Warsaw. I have no doubt that probably before, but certainly after, in the course of October, there will be info days, sessions, meet the PO type things. And as usual, and more than usual, I mean, we need experts, we need evaluators, especially since, I mean, you know, sort of this new orientation and expansion, I mean, of the base. Quickly, do I have time? No. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so call 3 SMEs, which for some of you is less interesting. It was certainly very interesting for the people of the LTI summit. So here you are running something which is labeled SME Initiative on Analytics, which says it all, is not exclusively designed for SMEs, but clearly, I mean, it leans towards SMEs, and analytics. Intelligence. So when I say there are opportunities, I mean, for LT, I mean those language technologies that refer to, again and again, information analysis, summarization, I mean, clustering, I mean, social media, and so forth. Okay? So there are 3 items, 20 million in total, B and C together are worth 15 million euro, so there will be competition, as there was last year already. And the one addressing language technology in particular, or intelligence-related language technologies, is called Easing Transfer and Takeout. The key parameters are very simple: up to 2 years, up to 1.5 million euro, at least 2 SMEs. The 2 SMEs together, or the 3 or whatever, should pocket at least 30% of the total EU funding. And unlike last year, this will be a single-step, single-stage evaluation, so an evaluation at the end of the period, okay, no intermediate filtering. And the proposal is supposed to include the 20 pages, I believe. So last year we had a 2-step process, 5 pages and then up to 50. Now just is 1 step, 20 pages, so be it. Now the purpose, you can see that, I just give you the keywords, is to take promising, according to the submitters, technologies, and bring them to commercial maturity. Through a number of steps, some are listed but are not exclusive of others: engineering, integration, first use experimentation, in-depth assessment, technical, user-related, and the economic potential. And then, for good, unlike most projects, identify exploitation paths, not the plan, the path, define, a viable, meaningful business model, and, when necessary, find alternative funding sources. I.e., don't come back to us. We give you time and money for you to find private investors who will be prepared, to help you moving one step further along the line. Okay? And that's about it. Here you see the main top level, website for the current program, and then the top level, so very broad information available concerning Horizon 2020. Thank you.
Thank you.